Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to a very special episode of the Two-Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Schwan.
How we doing?
Fantastic. And we brought out the multi-tap for this very special episode. Mr. James Solar is here. Welcome, James. Good to have you back on the channel.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
I'm excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you couldn't tell by the video title, sorry, not the video, the title, this is a spoiler cast for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're going to roll everything, patreon.com/2player co-op, teespring.com/store/2player co-op, all that stuff. Just use the force, mind trick people. Here's your last warning. What I want to talk about is one of my favorite stories in recent years in a video game, because this game has it. So this is your last warning before we get into anything else. Spoilers from here on out. If you couldn't tell by the video title, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, if you couldn't tell by Sean's face, spoiler time is on. You're like Bison in the truck. All right. Spoilers starting right now.
Is this the last warning?
Yes.
Okay.
Now spoilers start. I liked Fallen Order. I thought Fallen Order had a very good story.
Yes.
I thought the story was the best part of that game. We don't have to talk about that, James. I'm not bashing it or anything. I just think the story was that good, is what I would say. The story in this game, and I don't understand, like I said in the main podcast, again, I don't know if this is going up first or the main pod's going up first, whatever, I'll figure it out. So this could be 320 or 321 episode. It doesn't matter, whatever. I don't understand why some people I've seen online are like, the story was okay until the end. In my mind, like I said on the pod, either yesterday or the next day, the last 2 to 3 hours of this game are so damn good and insane that I was like, I had multiple holy shit moments.
Yes.
Overall, though, we'll get into that. Again, like I said, I think this is one of the best stories I've seen in video games. It's like up there with the last two God of War games. Last of Us Part 2 sucked.
And it's not just a good story.
No, it's like everything else.
I think we talked about it on the podcast, James. You mentioned it in the Discord. It it feels, it's a Star Wars story. It's not just a good,
it's a
story. It feels like Star Wars. Yeah.
So, James, since we've talked a lot in the Discord, but people on here have not seen your full thoughts yet or heard your full thoughts, not you're going to type on the screen or anything. Overall thoughts on Jedi Survivor, and then we'll get into the story and we will spoil the ever living hell out of this game.
As you know, and as anybody that's really kept up with me a little bit knows, I loved Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And so this game, to keep it kind of short, was pretty much everything that I wanted it to be. It did not go, when we get into story stuff, it definitely didn't go in a direction that I thought it was going to go based off of how the first game ended. And I did like that. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. So go.
Well, what I was going to say, I would have guessed, being that we are reasonably sure this is a trilogy. And I feel like the way things, I say tend to go, but I'm struggling to come up with examples, so maybe I'm wrong. But I would have thought this would have had almost more like Empire, maybe, kind of a cliffhanger, or less. There's a lot of not happy things that happened, but I thought this would have almost like Infinity War, maybe not where everybody dies. It did, but like
it kept going.
Yeah. I don't know. I almost expected it to have a more somber, like we're screwed kind of ending, only for part 3 to come in and, right everything. But what's weird, you can't really have it because of the way these games are. When the game is over, you get to keep playing. There's all the post game stuff. So
died, but I'm gonna go look for some chests.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to pull that off in the video game world, I guess. But yeah.
I know we're going to have to talk about performance at some point. Do y'all mind if we just go ahead and get that one out of the way first?
It sucked. So I will say this. I think I had the most issues out of the three of us, which is some people on PS5 have had no issues. Some people have been like me and they've had, myriad issues. I will say after the patch came out today, as we're recording this on Tuesday, May 9th, it's much better.
I haven't played any today.
There's no more screen tearing that I can see. The logo at the beginning is still like boom, 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 boom. The frame rate's a lot more good. It's a lot better.
A lot more good.
It's a lot more belter. It's still not perfect, but it's more playable than it was in the past. Now, the funny thing is Sean said he had like 3 or 4 crashes. I have not had the game crash one time.
The game crashed on me. I had to replay the first 10 minutes of the game like a couple times.
Oh, wow.
See, it crashed on me once 10 minutes into the game on Coruscant before you had gotten to any story checkpoints or anything. So then I had to go when you're like in handcuffs and there's that long walking sequence. I got to do that sequence twice.
Oh,
it's boring both times.
Yeah, I think I had 3 crashes and they've all been in the post game. But if you're having them in the beginning, I guess
that was my only one.
Coincidental, but okay, just the ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had 3. Yeah.
I've had 0.
I don't think, based off what Kevin's been saying, what I'd heard him saying in the Discord about his performance, I don't think I was experiencing anything like that either. I just don't have the eye for it, which I guess I'm thankful for, or mine wasn't that bad, because the only time that I felt like there were obvious stutters pretty much the entire game, but the only time that I felt like it really got to an unacceptable point was in the post game for me, which I think I said this in the Discord earlier. When you're running around on Kobo in the area around the saloon and around just that whole, there's all kinds of life forms and people and all that stuff. It was stuttering so much that I was like, I literally don't even know if I can play this.
Yeah.
But it was only in that one area.
Yeah, mine was never so bad that it was like affecting like the gameplay or my fun level or anything like that. For me, it was like pop in like textures and stuff. Like anytime I land in Jeddah and you see like the ship landing, it's like it's like building the cave around the ship as it's like lowering and stuff like that. I had like
I didn't have any
drops.
of that either.
Really?
Maybe which it's funny because so I know y'all were both playing on PS5. I was playing on Xbox Series X, but everything that I had seen online had said that the Series X performance is way worse than on PS5. So I have no idea how I didn't have any of these issues. So I do think it's entirely possible that I just don't have the eye. Thankfully, I don't have the eye for these problems. And it's just like, I'm not going to notice it until someone points it out to me.
Yeah. I would think if you were having the screen tearing like I was, you would see it no matter what. Like basically if I stand still and I would turn the camera, it would be like the bottom 3/4 of the screen would move. And then a half a second later, the top quarter of the screen would be behind and nothing would line up. And I'm like, what the frick is happening? But again, after the patch today, it seems like that's gone. So that makes me
at that section in Kobo that I was talking about when my performance was so bad that I couldn't even like jump from one platform to another. I rotated the camera a little bit and it was like, it looked a little bit out of sync as far as like maybe the top inch of the screen was moving a little bit slower than everything else, but it still wasn't anything like what you were describing as far as it being like a half a second or like a second off. Like that would probably drive me crazy.
Yeah, it was horrible for me.
Another thing I had some times where, and this is more on the loading side, I think, I like run up to a door like an automatic, like when you fast travel
in the saloon. Christ.
Yes, when you fast travel to like the saloon meditation spot, and I'm just trying to make my way up the stairs, and I just run into the door, and it doesn't open.
I did have a couple instances. I like back up and then
run for it, and then it finally opens. Like things like that. I had. Oh, so I was texting Kevin when you first go to Nova Garon, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I texted him. I'm like, there is nowhere to go. I cannot go anywhere. There is one path. It ends with a red force field. every force field you've seen so far has been green and you can go through it. I'm like, now there's a
felt
red
dumb
one.
too.
I dashed into it. I couldn't get through it. I'm like,
Oh,
obviously
really?
that was the first thing I tried. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm looking around trying to see if there's something I can pull or push or lift or drop, whatever, like nothing. And I text Kevin. I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's a red force field, but there's nothing anywhere else. And he's like, how do you normally get through a force field? I'm like, I swear to God. So I go down there, dash, right through it. And I'm like, I know for a fact it did not let me dash through it before. And I was proven right in my mind. I know I'm not crazy because it happened again at a totally different, I think it was on Kobo, a green force field. No, it was on Jeddah, green force field, but I was standing right next to it and I dashed and he was just like not going through. He was just up against it. And so I don't know if maybe that's what I did. If you are standing against a force field and you try to dash, maybe you can't get.
I think it's got to be a loading thing because I kind of had that problem too. I didn't have any of those issues until the post game though, when I was moving through areas very quickly, trying to do a lot of exploring and a lot of like collecting chests and shards and data and all the things. But I had that problem as well. That same section that you were talking about though, I was a little embarrassed how long it took me to realize that you can dodge through the red force field. Like, why are there no other red force fields in the game? Why is it only this one?
Yeah.
Well,
why make all of them? If you're gonna let me dodge through them, why not just make all of them red?
So I think that there's something that BD scans there, and it says something about only inorganic material can pass through red force fields without taking damage or something like that. And I was like, well, I'm organic, I can't, whatever. So I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And
I was
dash, boom, right there.
I kind of did the same thing.
What the hell? Like, it didn't take me that long, but it was still pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
as far as
go ahead. Performance.
As far as performance, I don't really know if this would be considered a performance thing, but I did have like various like glitches and stuff where I would try, you know how you can do if you jump above an enemy, you can hit probably square on PS5. You can hit square and do like a heavy attack on them from above. Sometimes it's X on Xbox, so I would hit X and Cal would jump at them, but then he would get caught on a ledge or something above and he would just be like this. Just kind of running around like but it's like that kind of stuff, it's like I'm just gonna laugh at it. It's not really gonna bother me that much.
Well, yeah, and like you saw the video I put in Discord of that one time Cal died. Like, I fell off this cliff and he just hit an invisible floor and he's just going like, I'm going to die, but I'm just going to do this. And then I made him move a little bit and then he went this way. And then finally he fell through the other, like the rest of the invisible floor and he died.
I had the only thing I can think of that was similar to that. I was on Jeddah. I was on one of the spammels and I was running through the desert and I got shot. And so it like knocked me off, but it knocked me off and I was like in the ground. Like I was looking up, like it was just black from where I was underground, but I could still see everything that was above the ground. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I was in the middle of, I don't know how much of the platinum or whatever it is on Xbox you've been doing, James, but there's a lot of stuff to do in Jeddah. And I was right in the middle of that. Everything. And I'm just like, I swear to God, if I have to like restart, but luckily I just jumped and he just jumped out and I was fine. But that was the only weird glitchy thing I can think of. But
I found, at least I think it works this way, a lot of the collectibles and stuff, if you get a collectible and then die and respawn at a meditation point, you have that collectible, you're fine.
There are so many times where, again, in post game, where I'll go into an area to get a thing, a collectible of some sort, and I'm like, I don't know how to get out of here now. Yeah. I'm looking at the map and twisting and turning and zooming. I'm like, how do I can't go back the way I came. I'm like, how do I ever get out of here? And I would just kill to be able to just pause and then say restart from checkpoint or something. Just like a quick warp, like get me out of here. Just put me back at the meditation thing. But
Yeah,
So,
I would have liked that too. I noticed the same thing. Sorry, Kevin, I see your finger.
you're good. You're good.
But I kind of noticed the same thing that sometimes, especially not so much in the story, but when I would go back to certain areas, it's like, oh, this has the little dots, which means I can go from right here to right here.
Yep.
But it doesn't include on the map that like this is a kind of a one-way thing.
Right.
Which being able to fast travel between the meditation points, I felt like was a big improvement. That wasn't a feature in the first game. But based off what I heard y'all say on the podcast earlier, it didn't sound like I had as many issues with the map as y'all did, at least not until I completely agree with what y'all said about the underground areas. The underground areas.
Yeah, when you're underground or inside, like where there's like floors and like you're on this one.
When it's layered,
but there's another
stuff,
one above you. Yeah,
confusing.
you can't see anything.
But Kevin, what were you gonna say? Something else about performance?
I'm trying to
kind of in
think.
that same vein.
Oh, collectibles. No, what I will say is here's what happens. If you go through when you're in the end game now and you go back to Jeddah and you get Seer's lightsaber and you're going around there and you're trying to get the trophies and the chests and the collectibles and the echoes and all this. And then you go to this stupid force tear thing where you got to go through all these portals and it's really hard and you just rage quit and you're just like, whatever, I'll come back to the game. And then you haven't saved it after you got those collectibles. And then your kid turns on the PS5, logs into his account, plays Apex Legends without you knowing. And then you go back to play and it's like, oh, you don't have any of this stuff. So I will say it doesn't seem like there's any auto saves in this.
This sounds like an isolated incident
until you get to the meditation point. If you don't go to a meditation point, based on my experiences, nothing saves. Right. Which is
so I understand how that could be an issue. This is just gonna sound like I'm plugging my Xbox so much, but
all right, that's the end of this podcast. Let's hang up now.
On Series X and Series S, since you can have multiple games running at the same time, even if I do step away from my Xbox for like a day or two and Sarah goes on and plays like Hitman or something, when I fire up, because of like quicker zoom and stuff, when I do fire up Jedi Survivor again, it'll just go right back exactly to where I was. But I definitely can see how that would be annoying, especially if...
Is that the two of you playing under the same account or two different accounts?
Two different accounts, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even though on Discord it says that I've been playing Hitman, I've played Hitman, but I haven't been playing it recently. Which I think on the most recent, or maybe 2 weeks ago on Sacred Symbols, people were accusing Chris Reagan of playing Persona because Discord said he was playing it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I what I really want to get to in this, I think we talked about performance issue. Like, here's what I'll say about the performance stuff. It's really annoying, but it did not take away that much from my overall love of this game. Mm-hmm. And as much as the combat was fun and the upgrades were fun and the traversal options and everything that you have in this were fun.
Right.
I still think my favorite part of this game is the freaking story. So let's nail this. I will say this: when the game starts, you're handcuffed, and I'm like, you're a freaking Jedi. You're handcuffed. I'm like, well, okay, so this is a setup, whatever. And then these two alien dudes, I'm like, are you bad guys or not? And then there's this other guy with a helmet on. I'm like, I think something's going on. By the way, I was right about all of them. I was like, the guy with the helmet turns out to be Bode. By the way, I want to call him Bodhi. B-O-D-E should be Bodhi. Okay. And then the two alien guys, I'm like, they're on my side too. Turns out, yeah. You get to the senator guy. There's awesome fights, everything. The whole tutorial stage kind of reminded. Why is my hand still back here? It reminded me of Fallen Order because I remember the tutorial section of that being really well done as well. And
on Braca.
Yeah, it ends really sadly because your buddy is like, "Well, I'm a Jedi." I was like, "No." And
I think I like the tutorial of Braca or on Fallen Order a little bit more, just because since it is more of like in Jedi Survivor, at least the way that I felt was that you're introduced to like this whole cast of characters, and then it's like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. It's like, okay, so the only important one here is Bode. Whereas Yeah. Whereas in Fallen Order, you're introduced to like one character, and then over the course of like 10 or 15 minutes, you kind of get to see Prof's relationship with Cal and how they like work together and how they look out for each other. And so then it is a little bit more impactful, at least to me, when they kind of just kill him off. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Overall, I thought that that opening section was really good at establishing that you do still have all of your abilities, and that it's not going to do the standard like Metroidvania trope of like, oh, you fell in a hole and your power suit is damaged, or you have another case of Jedi amnesia.
Right. So I don't remember. So I guess in Fallen Order, you had to learn the double jump. You had to learn the wall run. You had to learn all that stuff, right? Yeah.
But yes, but it made sense.
Well, yeah, because he was not 5 years, into the job. He was still just like, he's been hiding. He survived 66, and now he's like, well, I guess.
Yeah, I think he was like 13, 14-ish when Order 66 happened. So he was just a Padawan, so he was still learning. And then he hadn't used the Force at all for 5 years, so he kind of had to recall those abilities and stuff. And so it would make sense, as he is continuing to fight the Empire and do what he can, that he would continue to still have all those abilities.
Yeah.
So I thought they did that really well.
So yeah, we go through the whole thing.
Coruscant.
We're here to steal this stuff. The Senator is there. He looks. I will say this one thing that's weird when it comes to the cutscenes in this, and I noticed it with the Admiral whatever guy at the end, that Bode was working for, not working for, whatever. Denzel. So we're gonna call him Denzel Washington. So Denzel Washington. When you look at Cal, it's like that's Cameron Monaghan. Then you look at Denzel, and it's like this is a guy from the PS2. There was some weird, like, again, I don't care because I love this game, but there were some character models that were awesome and some that were like PS2, PS3 level.
Right.
I feel like Cal is far and beyond any of them. Then there's a lot of like Bode and Seer, and all of them look pretty good. But it's like they blew all their budget on Cal. And then there's that third tier where it's just like PS2 characters.
Well, and I think Marin looked really good too, but that's probably because she's an alien or whatever. Like she's not
realist like
person. So it's like okay, so her model looks good because she's not just like there's no
Grease look
uncanny
good.
valley. Yeah, Grease looked amazing. Did he get his arm cut off in the first game?
No.
So did he have a fake arm in the first game?
No.
Okay, so he's just like
he lost his arm in the tie-in novel, Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars, which I haven't read the whole book, but I know he loses his arm in it. I want to say that book kind of explains why they're all kind of dispersed at the beginning of this game.
Okay, yeah, they made it seem like we knew that from Fallen Order, but I was like,
no,
I remember something, but not that they're all like not talking and all that. It was weird the way they did that.
So at the end of Fallen Order, it ends with they're all just in the Mantis, all of our people, and they're just like, all right, what are we going to do now? We're a team. And then it is established this picks up 5 years later. So like a lot can happen in 5 years. Yeah. And it actually kind of reminded me of the jump from The Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, where you see them, you kind of see everybody all together at the end of Empire Strikes Back without Han. And then you get to the opening of Return of the Jedi with Jabba's palace and all this stuff. And it's like, who are these people? How did we get here? What are we doing? I don't know if that's what they were trying to kind of invoke there. That's kind of how I interpreted it. And I'm kind of glad that they, at least I felt like they kind of filled in some of that story and stuff when Cal would go and talk to characters later on, and he would just be like, oh yeah, this happened between us. Or it's like, oh, Seer went to go and live on Jeddah, and surprise, Eno Cordova is alive.
Yeah, I couldn't remember
who was
what happened
not in the first game.
He wasn't in the first game at all?
He was in the first game. In the first game, you meet BD1, and Eno Cordova had left a bunch of holographic messages in BD1. So you're going all over the galaxy, and BD1 it's triggering these things in BD1. So Cordova was talking to you, but it was like a recording of Cordova talking to like whoever finds this recording.
It wasn't him in the flesh. Okay, gotcha.
Right. So I was pretty surprised to see him in there. I don't think they showed him in any of the trailers or anything. I thought that was a nice surprise.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to cover this now. Who saw Bode's double cross coming? Because I did, and then I did not.
I
did.
It crossed my mind early on. I'm like, all right, new character. He's all buddy. Is he going to turn? I'm like, I don't think so. That doesn't really make sense.
The tunnel, and he's like, oh, I'll just go this way.
Right. As soon as, that was around when it started. He's like, I'm going to go look around. I'm like, okay. And plus, even before, I think it was like right before that, even though it may not have been related, just the fact that he kept bugging Cal about Marin. I'm like, knock it off, dude. Like, he was just getting on my nerves.
Did you find the Force Echo about that?
Jealous.
I don't think so.
There's a Force Echo in the Jeddah like temple, whatever, after you beat the game, where you go, it's right over where like the stormtrooper dummy is. You go over and you click it, and he's like, how can I know how to turn this on. Son of a bitch.
That's right. Yeah.
God, Bode, you son of a bitch.
But yeah, as soon as he started saying things like, I'm going to just hang back here, I'm like, okay, something's going to happen. Then when they're doing like the happy ending that is not the ending, I'm like, okay, something's about to go down. And then, so yeah, I saw that coming. But then when he, and he like force pushed him, I was like,
oh my God.
Whoa. Okay.
I literally yelled
that
out
I did
loud.
not see coming.
I yelled out loud.
I didn't.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I didn't see the Bode twist coming, but then once it happened and I kind of thought about it a little more, I felt like it was a little bit more obvious and that I just wasn't really paying attention. One of the things that I did notice was that early on in the story, which I don't know how Bode's betrayal timeline lines up to the events of the game, but at least for me, what it seemed like was that in the beginning of the game, you have Bode and Cal and this whole group, and they all kind of want the same thing of, we're going to go to Tanalorr and we're going to use this as a place for all of us to collectively hide from the Emperor or from the Empire.
Yep.
And then over the course of the game, he kind of changes his mind a little bit, where you see him shift from, this is going to be our place of refuge, to, we're going to use this as a staging ground to take down the Empire.
Yeah.
And in my mind, the way that I interpreted it was that Bode was on board in the beginning of the game with yes, this is where we're going to go and hide, because that's what he really wanted in the end of the game too. But then as Cal's vision was kind of changing on how he wanted to do it, it seemed like Bode kind of changed his mind as well. Is there like a bug or something in there?
Yep.
Okay. Because I keep seeing little shadows on the wall behind him, and then I see Kevin going
he's
looking like he's hiding from Batman or something.
No,
but that's kind of
I think
how I interpreted it.
I think what it was. So I think Bode, obviously he was a jackass from the beginning, but right. I do think he really did like Cal and all of them. Apparently he didn't like Eno Cordova.
I don't doubt their friendship was at least somewhat real,
but at the end of the day,
right.
He's got a daughter, and that's
so,
and I get it. Like I'll kill anybody to save my family.
Yeah, that's what I started to say in the podcast. Like, no, I'll save it for this. But like, obviously, he's a bad guy. I mean, killing people. Like, he's not going about things the right way. But the time when he says the line, I think it was, "I'm not a monster. I'm a father." I'm like,
I get it.
I'm just like, no, right. I can't fault you there. Like, I would probably do the same thing.
Especially after his wife was killed also. Like, I get it. When you involve family, I get it. And Cal's not a father. Like, his only family is, now the bug is on the friggin' light. His only family is, his crew and everything. And while, they're quote unquote family, it's not the same thing as having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that
Your only
like
kid.
yeah,
Mhm.
like I was saying, like Bode, I think really did like Cal and the rest of the crew. But I agree with you, James, when he's talking about we're going to use this as like a FOB to take down the Empire. That's when Bode's like, shit, man, no, all you're going to do is attract attention.
Right.
That means that like my little
And-
girl and I are not going to be safe. So therefore, sorry, y'all.
I
I'm
feel like
turning you
it's a
over
kind
to
of thing.
to the Empire.
Right. I feel like it's kind of a thing of no matter how hard it is to get to Tantalor, the Empire is going to find a way.
They'll figure it out. Yeah.
So if they know it even exists, it's not going to be safe. And so I felt like in some of the Force Echoes and stuff later on, it did kind of portray that Bode was kind of bad the whole time. But I kind of like to interpret it in that maybe he was truly like, even though he was kind of working with the Empire, like maybe he was planning to like all of them just go to Tantalor together and then just kind of like disappear.
If he thought it was safe,
yeah.
I agree. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know if you guys think this at all. Maybe a bit of a stretch. I'm not saying it was done on purpose or anything, but I kind of saw with the way everything played out, some parallels between Bode and Joel.
God damn it.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing what he thinks is right to protect his daughter.
They would take Bode and be like, "Hey, you were in this first game, and now
I'm not talking about Last of Us Part 2. I'm just talking about the end of
Kevin,
Part
reel it
1. The end of Part 1.
Bring it back.
The end of the first game to have
Just the end of Part 1.
Be a really important person.
Was Joel in the right or not? That's kind of how I feel about Bode. He was doing what was right for his daughter, just as Joel was doing what was right for his daughter.
Well, but Joel also wasn't like, he didn't work. He was just doing whatever it took to survive, whereas Bode was doing whatever it took to survive, but also working with the bad guys. So that's the only thing I would say was different. But I don't think Bode was, I guess Bode was a bad guy, but like at the end of the day, I think it's not black and white. Like Joel's not black and white. I will say that. I think it's a lot of gray because again, when you're a father, it's like, you will do whatever. And again, I told Sean, I was like, look this on the podcast, but like, it got to the point where, okay, so wait, I haven't even said this yet. At the beginning of the game, I was like, I don't trust this guy. As it kept going on, I started to trust him and everything when it comes to Bode. And it got to the point where I was like, no, this guy's totally on our side. We're fighting Dag and Gara. We'll get to him in a second. But when it got to the quote unquote happy ending, the first of like 5 endings, he hugs Cal, and as he hugs him, he kind of goes like, he looks around, he has this look on his face. I was like, oh shit, what's about to happen? Fade to black. Next day, you go down there. Hey, Eno Cordova, did you fix the thing? I did. It's going to be awesome, man. Like, so I saw it coming. I didn't see it coming, and then I saw it coming. But I don't think Bode was necessarily a bad. He's not like, even Vader is that is one thing that Star Wars, when it's done well, it does well. Bad guys in Star Wars, other than just the Emperor, are not like just bad guys. Like even Vader, like
right.
In the end of it, like I don't know. I thought Bode was a good character. I am shocked that they killed him off in this game. That's the one thing I'm like, so now what? Like I thought they were setting up to have it be Cal versus Bode in the third game. And I almost wonder if they killed him off because maybe they don't think they will actually get a third game.
Well, that's where I feel
like he's not significant enough to get a whole game.
Yeah.
Because I felt like treating him like a subplot was enough. Even though like it's a pretty big twist, I don't think there was enough. I don't think he was evil enough to make him the villain of an entire game.
Right. When that dude did the force push though, oh my God. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
So one thing that I was thinking about, I think a third game is almost a foregone conclusion. Yeah. Like I think it's going to happen.
No doubt.
But this is one of those things where we know how the bigger story plays out, and there ain't no mention of Cal.
Right.
Is he going to die? And
Well,
if
then
not,
there's no
how do
open
you
world after the game?
how do you get rid of him
Not
in the Star Wars
necess-
canon?
Not
Unless he ends up deciding,
necessarily.
hey, you know what? I don't want to fight anymore. I'm going to live on this
On
Tantalor or
yeah.
whatever and just live in peace.
That's
like,
what I was thinking. Yeah.
In
But-
in other Star Wars properties, so like we've seen a lot of the characters from Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels that have never been in any of the movies come back in like The Mandalorian and some of the other shows. So they could kind of do the same thing there. I know also Star Wars gets criticized for having kind of a small galaxy syndrome where every important thing that ever happens in the galaxy revolves around the same group of people.
Yeah.
So having like, oh, this is an important, like Cal is an important character because he had these accomplishments and had these battles, but then he's not in this group of stuff over here. I almost feel like it makes the world feel more realistic. Whereas like realistically, we're not going to have every good guy in the entire galaxy helping us all the time.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of how I felt watching Rogue One, where you're like, okay, well, we know what happens after this. There's no mention of any of these people, despite them playing a pretty big role.
Now we know why.
Well, they're probably all going to die, and they did.
That I agree with you there, but that was also like minutes before A New Hope, so that would have been a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah,
if it was
true.
like, oh, these people did this really significant thing and then they disappeared. Whereas Jedi Survivor does still take place 10 years before episode 4.
Okay.
And so a lot can happen in 10 years.
Yeah.
Or 9 years. And then so, kind of in a similar vein, the Inquisitors are also not in any actual Star Wars movies. But I think we can just kind of assume that they all kind of died out.
By the way, I hate the word inquisitorious. I was like, I'm pretty sure
Sucks.
you're just like you're just throwing a whole bunch of prefixes and postfixes together to get this word to be a thing. All right, so we talked a lot about Bodhi. We
haven't talked about the High Republic arc.
Oh, well, I don't.
There's
nothing I can say about it.
Dagon.
I was going to say Dagon.
Okay, before we get into that, is it a coincidence that we have Dagon, and Fort Colin?
Well, that's like John was saying in the Discord.
That's what I'm saying. Do we think this is a coincidence?
I don't know, but Colin's never going to play it, so we're never going to find out.
I don't know.
I will say the one thing I saw coming the first time I saw Dagon Gera in a cutscene, I was like, that's the bad guy.
Huh.
Everything that played out with him and Centauri Kree was so cool. I love how they pieced everything together. I love how Cal has these visions. I love how the last thing we finally see, why does this dude only have one arm?
Mm-hmm.
And when Centauri is like, wham, but she's like, even then she can't be like, nah, F this guy. She's like, no, we need medics, like help this guy, whatever. When you walked into that chamber and you saw the Bacta tank and it opens up, by the way, it looked like his hair was black, but then it turned white again. I was like, it's probably just the way
it was just the
rendered.
Bacta, like the way it. Sure.
But when he comes out and when this dude is like, and he's just like with his stump, he's like force pushing you and everything. Oh my God. And then
when you fight him and he's like holding the lightsaber, but not, and it's just like,
having one arm's not going to stop me from using 6 lightsabers at a time.
And then when you get to the final fight and this dude has a ghost arm that you can finally see, and it's like, I thought Dagon Gera was so cool. I would have liked to see him. I kind of feel like I feel about him the way I felt about Darth Maul. Like, we know Darth Maul didn't die, but whatever, retcons.
Somehow
whatever.
He came back.
Yeah, he's got spider legs and everything. I thought Dagon Gera was really cool. He wasn't Imperial. He wasn't Jedi. He wasn't a Sith. He was just, again, gray. He just wanted, I don't even know what the hell he wanted, actually. But, like, he was such a cool villain, and it wasn't just, like, somebody we already know, or, you know, the Ninth Sister is going to be whatever, you know, you kill her early on, which was awesome. But I felt like Dagon was a really cool character that we should have gotten more out of. He should have been. Now, I mean, I could play the third game here in 4 years and be like, they nailed it. That was awesome. But to me, the only thing I don't like about Dagon Gera is that he's dead.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about him?
I liked him a lot. I don't think I jumped on it as quickly as you did that he was like the big bad in the game. And I mean, he was.
It turned out not to be.
Kind of wasn't. But yeah, once you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. It's going to be him. But yeah, I liked him a lot. I thought he was, like you said, he's another just kind of shade of gray, kind of like Bode. Like, he's a bad guy, but is he though? Like, I don't know. I think there's I think it does suck that he died. I think we could have gotten past this game and not had to kill him off.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked him a lot for the little we had him in our lives.
It makes me think of what is the line in Jurassic Park that Malcolm says about the best intentions and whatever the worst, like in his mind, he had good intentions for what he was trying to do.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and so did Bode.
I noticed that
like,
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so did Joel.
with Dagon, one of the things a lot of the game is it really shows that he was right, that he was trying to warn, he was trying to tell the Jedi that like this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and then when they didn't believe him, he kind of went off the rails, and then he ended up being right. And I felt like one of the overlying themes of the game is that just because you're I don't really know of a way to phrase it other than like, just because you're right doesn't mean you're not like in the wrong. Mm-hmm. That like you can be right and still do the wrong thing. Like, you can still go about it wrong. Like but I liked Dagon. I thought it was cool. I think it's really cool that he's a High Republic Jedi. I didn't know anything about the High Republic before this game, and honestly, it's not really an era of Star Wars that interests me, but I liked that they found a way to kind of tie the High Republic era into the reign of the Empire, which, as you guys both know, that's what the era that really interests me the most.
I love it.
He kind of reminded me of Abby. I'm just kidding.
God, go to hell. Like, can we get Chris Peralta on here? Like, damn it. No, Chris, if you're watching this, well, it's too late. You haven't beat it yet. What did we think about Ravis? What was up with his arm?
Forgot about him.
Stab this dude in the heart, and it's like, oh. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
You cut his arm off, and then he's got the little
and it regrows.
That regrows, and he's like, "Okay, I'll put my glove back on."
It regrows until he's supposed to die, and then it stops regrowing.
Like, yeah, whatever.
What the hell is this guy?
I don't understand him.
Did anybody feel bad when they killed him?
No, not even a little bit.
I did, because I was like,
I did a little bit
because Cal didn't want to do it, and then he's like,
"Okay,
you're gonna do it, or I'm just gonna, I'm gonna call in the troops and we're gonna kill you and whatever." Like, there was something about it that was just like, I really like when Cal asked him, "Dude, just come fight with me." I was like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna have Raven, like we've already had Marin and we've had Bode. Now we're gonna have Ravis as a buddy to go and do missions. This is gonna be freaking awesome." And then he's like,
"I will never fight with you, Jedi."
It kind of reminded me at the end of Kevin, I don't know if you made it this far in the game. At the end of Ghost of Tsushima, when you finally get to do you want me to stop?
No, it's fine. I'm never gonna go back.
When you finally get to fight Lord Chimera, Jin's uncle, and
oh damn.
You're given the choice of giving him a warrior's death, or I played that game like for the second time earlier this year, so that's probably why it was on my mind. But you're given the choice of letting him live and letting him basically live the rest of his life in dishonor, or killing your own uncle and giving him a warrior's death, like an honorable death, which in Japanese culture I know is very significant. So it kind of reminded me of that.
What's funny is I also thought of Ghost, not at that part, but when you first get the blaster and how he's saying like, I don't know, Jedi aren't really supposed to use blasters,
you're
blah,
not
blah,
supposed to
blah.
use
Like
stealth.
in Ghost, yeah, you're not
Mhm.
exactly. I was like, yeah, that
I
kind of reminds me of Ghost.
I didn't think about that.
But yeah.
We're gonna spoil every PlayStation first party game during this one
Ghost,
podcast. But
Last of
I
Us,
think we got
check.
God of War already. Last of Us.
Yeah, I really think
else?
that, the Atreus of this game was BD1. BD1, by the way, thank God. I was worried, like, again, it's a robot. Who cares? But, like, no, you cannot hurt BD1. You can't do it. And I'm so glad that he's okay. And he's so cute and, like, awesome. And everybody, also, I love whenever Cal meets somebody, hi, I'm Cal. This is BD1. Hi, I'm Cal. This is BD1. Hi, I'm Cal. This is BD1. He's like, boop, boop, boop. Also the fact that BD1 has subtitles going.
The subtitles.
I'm like, I love this so much. I like the fight against Ravis, although I died a few times at that. It was a lot of fun. When it went to the second phase, I was like, son of a bitch. But yeah,
I thought the first phase of Ravis, I was like, that's it. And then he had a second phase.
And then it's
like,
oh
man,
shit.
here we go.
Yeah. What other characters am I missing? Z was really cool. I
like Z, yeah.
Because I thought Bode was going to turn, and then once he did, I was like, well, Z's going to turn too. She's an Imperial spy too from hundreds of years ago. Like when she was like, oh yes, I will stay behind and turn on the array. I was like, bitch, no, I'm just going to cut you in half now. We'll find somebody else. Like I don't trust you. She was cool. I
thought her design was cool for Z.
Yeah, she looked
I
like
thought they did a pretty good job of making, like, obviously, like, she's a droid, so like they had that kind of technology in the High Republic, but I thought they did a pretty good job of making her look like, obviously, like this isn't like a modern droid.
It's like an antique.
Whereas I guess a lot of the what is considered like the modern era of Star Wars, like the Reign of the Empire, a lot of the droids during that era look like they came out of some kind of like apocalypse. They look like they're just like a bunch of scrap parts like thrown together, whereas Z looked like she had much more of like an artistic, like they were trying to have some kind of expression about it, which I thought it was kind of cool that they did kind of make that distinction there.
Yeah,
just kind of a little thing.
Especially when you get to how you see her the rest of the game, when they clean her up and everything, and she's all chromed out and polished and everything. I was like, this is really. I thought so many of the designs in this game were so cool.
Yeah, that even after she was all cleaned up, though, she didn't look like just because I feel like she's essentially just a protocol droid that serves the Jedi Order, but she didn't look like C-3PO from A New Hope, or
she's got
whatever
like
the hell that silver one and the other ones is called.
Her mouth is like separated, and then like the way her head is shaped, it almost looks like some kind of like a headdress or a crown or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was a really cool design.
Yeah, I thought that was cool as well.
I do have to say though, there's one character that we haven't talked about yet, who I think is my favorite character of the entire game, who deserves a major shout out, and that is my boy Rick, the door technician. My God, I got
Shout
to
out
this.
To that guy.
I got to this
so awesome
before either of y'all, and I was like, oh my God, you go through the room where there's the TIE, you can knock a TIE fighter down, and there's wave after wave after wave of enemies. And I'm like, I'm not going to get through this. And I finally get through it. I have no stims left. I'm at like my health is in the red, and I'm like, oh God, okay. And he's like, you can tell when the force meter goes away, I'm like, okay, I'm finally safe. Okay. Go up here, whatever, open this door. And then I see at the end of the hall, I just see the stormtrooper just ready. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do all that again. Are you kidding me? And I'm looking around. I'm like, there's no meditation point. There's nothing. Okay. And I take a couple of steps forward, and all of a sudden, Jedi scum. And it pops up and it says Rick, the door technician, with a full red life bar. And I'm like, what the hell? Oh, this is a respite from that horrible fight I just had. And he's running like a crazy person. I just go, boom. I'm like, all right. And then you go up there and you got a safe spot. And I'm like, okay, that I don't remember anything like that happening
so
in Jedi
funny.
Fallen Order.
It was very
so,
much
like,
needed.
It's just
like perfect comedic timing.
Yes,
Just like
it's like when Marvel is done right,
Yeah.
Like the comedic timing of that is exactly what this was. And I was like, I did not expect that at all. I really thought he was going to be like he was like infused with, venom or something. Like he was going to be this crazy super trooper that had like 8 arms or something that were going to come out and he's going to turn into a bug from Men in Black or something like that. I didn't know what was going to happen. But when he just ran
his name's just
like
Rick. It sounds like some weird Star Wars name. Rick.
Yeah. I feel like it makes more sense this way though, because it wouldn't really make sense for like one single stormtrooper to be this like, I don't know, super soldier that you're having a hard time fighting. Whereas I guess it does kind of make sense that if this stormtrooper realizes that he's like the last one, he's going to give it like all he has, even if that's like nothing.
Oh, it was so good. It was so freaking good. And like, I should have known when I saw him. I was like, well, it's a stormtrooper. If worst case scenario, I parry a couple times and I stab him and I win, but it was so well done. Okay. So from there, we get to the end. We get the compass, we rebuild it, we kill Dagon, blah, blah, blah. We go back, we drink tea with Bode. Bode turns. And then from that, well, I should say from the final Dagon fight until the end of the game, it's 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours of just insanity in my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have the section where you want to touch on the section where we play as Seer real quick?
Oh my God.
Well, so wait. So before you get there,
wait, but the speeder chases first.
The speeder chase.
We're all over the place, guys.
Yeah, the speeder chase, and then the second reveal with Bode.
As a Jedi.
The fight with Bode.
That's unwinnable.
Right. So I'm fighting him. I'm like, all right, he doesn't seem too bad. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
and
what? I don't have any stims. I'm like,
you don't have any stims with you because they took BD1 away for that moment.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like fighting him, and I'm like, why don't I have stims? And then I die, and then it goes. They pull like a Hideo where it's like, respawn or whatever. I'm like, okay, but then all of a sudden, I'm back with Seer. I'm like, what is happening? Like, and then I'm like, oh, I wasn't supposed to win. Okay,
yeah.
But then when I was like, we're playing as Seer, are you freaking kidding me? She is like Obi-Wan levels, I assume, of Jedi mastery.
We've
like
talked
Force
about
mastery.
this in the past, where that is like a video game trope that I hate. When they say, you've been playing as that person, guess what? Now you're that person. I hate it.
But
I loved it here.
Yeah.
I think you lose nothing. She's arguably better than Cal, like more fun to play with.
Dude, when you first start playing as her and it's like hit L3 and R3 and she goes boom, and she does like the big bubble thing and then you're like, okay. And her and Marin are kicking ass and everything and bug.
For us, well, okay, while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and go. For a second, when it looked like Cal was dying, for a second I thought they were gonna kill off Cal and that you were gonna play the last like 3 or 4 hours of the game as Seer, and then they were gonna like presumably make a third game with Seer. That's what I thought was gonna happen for like a minute. But I enjoyed playing as Seer. Some of the stuff, I feel like you could kind of tell that it wasn't really.
I knew as soon as we played as her, she was done.
I felt like it was kind of filler. And I thought, so I did think the game was going to end with you playing as Seer, but I thought it was going to end right there in that moment of are either of y'all familiar with Halo Reach?
No, when I saw you sent that in Discord, I was like, well, I mean, I could have read this before this and it would have been nothing.
Okay, so do y'all care if I spoil the end of Halo Reach for you?
Please. Oh, right, man, so I was going to play that before I played.
I don't believe you. So Halo Reach is essentially Rogue One to Halo 1.
Okay.
I don't know if I worded that correctly.
No,
I get it.
It is to A New Hope what.
Nope. It is to Halo 1.
It is to Halo 1.
Rogue One was
to A New Hope. Thank you. And so you've probably seen screenshots of it. There's a very famous image of your last mission in Halo Reach it's like you have all your super soldiers together, which we know that at the beginning of Halo 1, it starts out with Master Chief, and you know that he's the last Spartan. And so you, at the end of Halo Reach, you have all of your Spartan super soldiers together, and they're like, all right, guys, like all of humanity is counting on us. All we have to do is just hold this area right here. And on your visor, it just pops up and it just says current mission, survive. And it's unwinnable. And then the whole, just one by one, you see all these super soldiers just go down and die. And
You're gonna
100% thought that's what they were going to do right there at the end. And it was going to end with not even in a fight, just in like a cutscene or something of Vader just showing up, similar actually to the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
And just like
mowing
annihilating
everybody down.
Seer. And I'm kind of glad it didn't end that way, because
Seer showed that she is almost on his level.
I mean, she had him.
She had him.
I was going to ask how y'all felt about that.
I think she did great, but I think Vader knew in the end, he's like, you can't really beat me. And that's why when that dude came out of the bookcases and everything, and he's like, whoa, and
It's
dude's
like
on
Super
fire
Shredder.
with half a cape and everything. Yeah, it was like Super Shredder coming out of the thing. You were going to say Crisis Core, right?
Yes.
That you're saying Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core with Zack at the end. He's like, I got literally a million dudes in front of me, but whatever, let's go. When he came out of the fire with like on fire, half a cape and everything, and I was like, oh, this, like, obviously I know I'm not winning this fight, but I will say they tricked me for a second when you get him finally down after I died 3 or 4 times, and then she jumps in there and is like, no, I was like, just stab him. You can't do all these theatrics with Vader. And then it's just like, oh, and he just goes, bam. And he's like, bitch.
I'm still not a huge fan, which, Sean, I'm interested what you think about this. I'm still not a huge fan of anybody really being able to defeat Vader, but I'm absolutely certain that I would have been unhappy if you'd done that as Cal. Because in my mind, there is no question.
Cal has no business.
Cal is
hanging
nowhere
with Vader.
near as powerful as Vader, which is, I brought that up in one of my Jedi Survivor hype videos that I did, that it's like, I absolutely do not want to fight Vader as Cal and win. So I'm glad that, I mean, I feel like you have to throw a Vader fight in there. So I'm glad they did it with Seer.
I liked, as soon as you saw it, as soon as it focused on the door and Seer was like, get out of here, I was like, oh my God, it's happening again.
I was like, wait, are they really? I was thinking going into this, I'm like, all right, they did Vader in the first one. Vader's probably not going to be in this. I'm like, what are they going to do? I'm like, are we going to get a Yoda? Are we going to get Obi-Wan? I'm like, is somebody else is going to show up? I didn't think it would
Again,
be
it's a very small gap.
Vader again, but as soon as he did, I was like, yes! And then I was like, oh God,
Seer's dead.
Oh
no. Yeah, I thought it was so cool. I will say also, the way I can rationalize it in my mind is I feel like Seer has been a Jedi for who knows how long.
Yeah. Well, she
Vader-
was a rank of Jedi Master, whereas Anakin was just a Jedi Knight. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think it does. I think it's.
And this is 10 years, like you said, 10 years before A New Hope. So he's still got a lot more fighting and killing and training and everything to do before he gets to that Vader.
Even if it doesn't completely make sense, it's definitely excusable.
Yes, I loved it. I geeked out so much. So after that, Seer dies. The one thing I was wondering about is how much time passed by the time she dies. Like, it seems like she had a force vision of Cal holding her, but then Cal was actually there. But Cal was there while
that
the
confused
fire,
me.
Like, the fire had gone out and it was just like smoke and embers and stuff. So was that like a day? Like, how long was he knocked out? How long did it take him to get in there to find Seer? How did he know Vader was there? Was he just using the force to be like, oh, she was killed? Can he tell it was a red lightsaber that went through her stomach? Like, I don't know. That was one thing that was confusing to me.
Seeing we saw Cal like abandoned in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Bode, and
I was under the impression it was a couple hours.
That's the thing. Like, it could have been a couple hours. It could have been a couple days. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, so, and Marin stayed behind to guard.
She was
the
outside.
Mantis
Yeah.
And the whole. Oh, that was cool
shoot.
too. When you got to do the boulders and everything to knock off the AT-ATs or ATSTs, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I completely forgot about this until now. When we were talking about performance issues and like technical stuff, I got stuck at a point. So a lot of the Seer section I had to play twice as well, because when you're playing as Seer and you have to do like the up or down force power that was like that would like shut the doors and like destroy the ATSTs.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It wouldn't go. It would like the button prompt would show up and I was pressing the button, but nothing was happening. And I was like, okay, I guess I can't really do that. I'm just going to wait for these ATSTs to come through. And a couple ATSTs came through and I killed them. And then a couple more came through and I killed them. And then two would like, they just kept coming. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to reload the save. And so then I did the whole Seer section twice.
So that just reminded me of a random thought I had. And I know it's video games. It's whatever. You have to suspend belief, blah, blah, blah. But I thought it was funny that from the beginning, left over from the first game, Cal can do force push, force pull, but he has to learn force lift,
force up,
force
up, force down,
or slam.
I've got a flying droid.
I can push and I can pull. Wait, I can also do this.
This looks like we're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we go to Tanalorr, which I thought was beautiful. They were like, I don't want to live here. I was like, I mean, there's nothing here. I get that, but like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I felt bad. Like, again, Kata ended up being real. By the end, you can tell that she's like, Dad, you're
Wait, did you think she was not real?
Yeah, because at one point I thought that he was just making it up as part of his story to get undercover with them and everything.
Oh, but well, because I get that, but we had met her when we got to Tanalorr. We had already met her.
Right. We met her in the
planet.
Yeah, in that thing.
Yeah, the one,
the moon or something.
Nova Garen,
the base, the Empire, the Imperial base.
But I liked how the grayness that I talked about with Bode really started to go away at the end, where you could tell that he was so. It's kind of like, have you seen Breaking Bad?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay,
I know he dies in the end.
Yeah, well, yeah, spoiler.
Yeah, they tell you that in the first episode.
Breaking Bode.
It's very much like Walter White.
We're gonna spoil everything. Let's
the whole time through Breaking Bad, Walter White keeps saying that he's doing everything that he's doing for his family. In this, Bode is saying he's doing everything he's doing so that he and his daughter can be safe. When it comes down to it, though, and he's confronted with Cal and Marin, and they're like, give me the compass. And he's like, no, I need to be safe with my daughter. And his daughter's like, Dad, just give it to him. I love you. And he's like, shut up, bitch. And he just goes, and the bridge just collapses. I was like, oh, I wrote down in my notes, oh, so you're just an asshole. Like at that point, it's like when Walter White is like, at the end, it's when he's like, no, I did it for me. And he's like, well, yeah, oh my God, Ozymandias, are you kidding me? Well, we could go on a whole down rabbit hole. But yeah, when he steals the baby and everything, but then at the end, he finally says, which Bode never got a chance. He finally says, I did it for me.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you for
steals a baby.
Ruth. He steals.
It's his own.
It'll make sense when you watch it. You'll forget it by the time you watch it. Don't worry about it. But like, does it make sense what I'm saying when it comes to Walter White? Like, he kept telling himself that, like, I'm doing this for me and Kata so we can be safe. But I'm like, by the end of the story, you see that he's not, like, I'm sure that's part of it, but really it's for some reason he just wants this just for himself.
Lost his way.
Yeah. And when he does the whole the force thing and the bridge starts falling down and Marin has to teleport over there to save his daughter, that this is supposed to be the whole reason he's doing all this shit. I'm like, yeah, okay, even if she's watching, you got to die, dude. Sorry.
I thought they were going to end it with him accidentally killing his own daughter.
I'd be like, well, I'm done. I quit. I'm not playing the third game. I cannot do this.
I did not at any point think that you were going to kill this guy in front of his daughter, but you did. And then she continued to ride around the whole galaxy.
Oh, just hang out with you guys now.
Let's hang out, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stay on this planet by myself.
I did really like the conversation between Cal and Bode when he's just talking to Kata and he finds her stuffy and gives it to her, and like, and then you hear the door open and Bode's like, oh, you got here faster than I thought or whatever. And I like also how like Devnick, Denzel Washington was just like a pawn in this, and Bode was trying to just do all this. He was trying to get everybody to kill everybody so he could just take the compass and go.
Right.
I don't know, but I like that,
or at least everybody distract each other,
so
Right.
he
so
can
that he
just
can kind of disappear in the night.
But I really like the conversation that, like, when Cal's like, okay, like he grabs his lightsaber and then he's like, okay, so you're not going to shoot me. Okay, I'll put it down. We're going to talk in front of your daughter. And it's like, you're still kind of feeling bad for Bo then, because you see him and it's like, yeah, the dude was like, he's one of the only Jedi that survived. He was doing whatever he could. So he had to serve this guy. They already killed his wife. He's trying to figure out who killed his wife while also keeping his daughter safe. It was just very intertwined and confusing, but in a good way, I guess.
And something with that I noticed, I don't know why this stuck out to me so much, but when you do confront Bode on Nova Garen,
I think so.
Nova Garen, and you're there talking to Kata, and then Bode shows up, and he's like, he's trying to explain who Cal is, and he's like, yeah,
this
is
my friend,
Cal,
right?
Cal is my best friend.
We had a fight, but
we're cool.
Everything's going to be cool.
That's when Cal goes
when he specifically says, I don't know, I felt like him specifically saying that Cal was his best friend kind of made it seem like they are actually, that their friendship was kind of real. And then also you do kind of see that if he's going to consider Cal his best friend, like he literally has nothing left other than, or at least in his own eyes, he has nothing left other than his daughter.
I think he probably still, the way I interpret it is he was still hoping that Cal would be like, okay, I get it. We don't have to kill each other, whatever. I think that's what he
Find
was
your
thinking.
own secret planet.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was so well done. I don't know. I love this game. I don't even know what else there is to talk about in the story, but here's what I wrote down for holy shit moments.
Okay.
The mining giant robot boss fight when you're going through the portals. That's what I was saying on the regular podcast.
That was a fun one.
Coolest things I've ever seen, like set piece wise, in any video game. Bode is a bad guy. Damn, Bode is a bad guy. Holy shit. Bode is a Jedi or a Sith. Holy shit. Playing as Seer. Here's Vader. Bode's daughter is real. I put that as a holy shit moment because I just figured he made it up. Flying through the abyss. I thought that was so cool, and how they're like, it was the band getting back together and everything, but it was, well, most of the band, but like, I love Grease, I love Marin, that was the other thing through this whole game. I was thinking they're gonna friggin' kill Marin, because now Cal's like, and Bode was,
no, they're saving that one for the third game.
Oh my god,
10 minutes in with a golf club.
All right.
I'm sorry.
But like, I want Cal and her to be happy. What I really hope they end up doing is somehow they do find their own Tanalor or something. Like, I don't know if, I guess Vader has to be the final boss of the third game, but like, obviously he's going to live. So yeah, and you can't end a game with Cal dying and then, or there's just no open world after that. I guess you could do it, but I feel like maybe he bests Vader, or he almost bests him, and then the Emperor goes and shoots lightning at him or something, and then Vader like teleports to a freaking, I don't know, a technodrome or something, and then they get out of there. But like, I want them to be together and be happy. Also, don't kill Grease. Also, they're not going to kill Marin. They're going to kill BD1.
Kill BD1.
They're going to kill the robot, the rabbit. I don't know.
I'm really interested to see where the story goes from there, though.
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up earlier, and we just kind of started talking about other stuff. This was not the direction that I thought the game was going to go at all. So in the first game, you kind of had Cal getting hunted by the Inquisitors, second sister and ninth sister. Second sister dies at the end of the game, and then in the novel, the tie-in novel, Battle Scars, you have fifth brother and ninth sister kind of hunting Cal together. So I thought that they were just going to kind of bring him in and then kind of do the same thing over again. And then they didn't even bring him in at all, and you end up killing Ninth Sister like 30 minutes into the game.
Well, it's kind of like in episode 9, how they're like, "Oh, you wanted the Knights of Ren? Here they are. Now they're dead." Okay,
Yeah.
and also
But
Kylo's a good guy, and he's gonna make out with his sister or whatever.
I think I like what they did here more than what I expected them to do, just because it was something new and didn't feel like them rehashing the first game with a new sister and another brother.
Yeah, I think overall, I honestly did not know what to expect from this game, other than the gameplay trailers looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had like no
Yeah,
preconceived notions of what the story would be. Like
I was expecting Ninth Sister to be like the main enemy that you fight like the whole game. So that was a nice little change in there.
And then she got Joel'd.
no, she got the guy
Kevin's
from
gonna leave.
From Infinity War with the portals. Like,
I
when he
think
got his-
we've pretty much covered story.
we've gotten to that point. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else we need to touch on before we wrap up? Again, 9.0, James, your score. We both said 9 to 10, somewhere in there.
I would say
gotta give
9
it
to 9.5. I can't give it a
9.5.
10, but it's
9.5 because of all the issues I had. But again, sorry, Colin. This is why you need to actually play the game instead of just hearing that there's technical issues and then saying I'm not going to play it. How is it an 86?
Well, he wasn't gonna play the game
he hates
way
Star
before
Wars at this point.
Yeah, way before they said anything about the technical issues. I'm not a huge fan of giving like numbered scores just because like
I agree.
How I will say this game is everything that I wanted it to be. Y'all know how high I was on the first game. That first game is a 10 to me, and I liked this game more.
Yeah.
I think. Before
and the first one was not without technical
Its own
issues either.
issues, yeah.
So
yeah.
Too much sliding for crying out loud. Every time you're like, oh, this is not a flat plane.
I didn't even really feel like there was that much slide. I would really like for you to go back and play that game again after.
But here's
whenever.
Honestly, here's the problem though, James. Especially now after playing this and how well it plays, to go back to just being Ginger lightsaber with no
give it some time.
No double jumps, no wall runs, no
fast travel.
2, no fast travel. Like I don't know that I can do it. Oh, and I don't know that I'm going to get the platinum because right now I'm just going through trying to 100% this stupid game, not paying attention to the trophies. I'm like, there's a billion things in here. I'm never going to do this.
The only thing that I think you need to get all of are the
priorite shards.
The priorite whatever.
Because you need to buy everything from
in the
Doma's
store.
shop.
Yeah.
Now there's 2 bugs. Where
they're multiplying.
Multiple.
I know we talked a little bit about the exploration and stuff. What did y'all think about the what the hell are they? The shrines.
That's what I was going to say. They were good. So the force tears that I've done, the combat ones so far have not been
combat ones were pretty easy.
I have not been to that one that you sent me.
Did you look at the picture, Kevin?
Yeah, because I was like, what the hell? Oh god.
There's a freaking you have to fight 2 Radcors at one time.
Did you do that? You beat it?
Yeah.
I haven't found that one yet. But
so that's the other thing and I still don't really know how it works. But at the end of I think it's when you get Cal back after Seer, when he starts doing like the dark side power up.
Yeah. We didn't even
sometimes
talk about that.
I would do it and he would still just do the slow thing. I'm like,
I noticed.
Really?
I'm like, I don't know when he's doing slow and when he's doing the dark. I don't know if it depends on your stance or if there's like 2 bars maybe. And if I do it when 1 is full, but not I don't know. But there's definitely a couple times where he still did the slow.
For me, it seemed like the only time that he did the standard slow was when I was in a Force Tear. Sorry, Realm Tear, God of War. Force Tear that that made you use a specific stance.
Oh, so you couldn't use
I wonder if that's
blade.
it. Yeah, maybe it never happened
because no matter what stance you're in, when you're outside of the Force Tears, it switches you to the single blade. and then lets you kind of wreck shop from there. But overall, I really liked the force tears. I thought they were typically really fun, even some of the more frustrating like platforming ones.
So have you done all of them, James?
Not all of them. I think I have one more.
So there's 4. I think there's 4 platforming type ones. 2 are really bad.
Wall running green.
2 of them
bullshit,
are
and
not
then the zip line bullshit.
Yeah, those are by far the worst. And then there's 2 other
zip line
ones.
one where you only have one zip line, but there's stuff coming up and down it, so you have to like jump out and then keep going back in. At least that's how I did it. My favorite one that I've done is probably the one where you fight like 150 battle droids or something.
Yeah,
that was the first one I did. Yeah,
just because you're in there like just wrecking shop.
Yeah,
it's just like one hit to everybody. You're just boom, 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 boom. I don't know what that song is, but
corn dog.
I know y'all mentioned mounts earlier. Y'all have anything else there?
I could take him or leave him. I don't think they added a whole lot, but
on running around Kobo, the little 2-legged one that you get, I thought it was cool that sometimes you need them to be able to get up to higher areas of doing like a jump and then jump off its back and then do another jump. I think I would have liked to have seen more like different kinds of mounts, but I don't know. I only really used them when I had to.
Yeah, they didn't do much for me, but
sorry, I'm looking at my notes. You know what?
The shambles just look so stupid.
They really do.
I'm a camel without a hump.
Legendary beasts. We mentioned Rancors. Fought a couple of those. Did y'all have a favorite legendary beast?
For me, it was the Rancor just because, but
have you done all of them? Did you get the trophy for it?
I've done all of them, yeah.
I have
they brought back Ogdo Bogdo.
Oh yeah.
That was that bitch that was on in the first game where he's down in a hole in a planet that there's a lot of rocks and a lot of green stuff. I mean, that could be I know, but I know exactly. When I saw that in the completionist review, I was like, this mother effer, are you kidding me? God, I hated that guy. Okay.
And then it seemed like most of the legendary beasts, though, other than the legendary, whatever the hell it calls them.
Yeah.
It seemed like most of them were just your normal large enemies that were just stronger.
The one I hated the most was the stupid I don't remember what it's called, but the scorpion looking thing.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Because it's so hard to get behind him and like hit like there's like the legendary version of that is even worse. But
so with that one, Sean, I quit trying to get behind him and I hit its claw so much that eventually the claw just fell off. And then I was like, all right, then here we go.
Oh, see, I wonder. Really? I didn't know if you could do that.
I had to hit it.
It seemed like you could, but they gave no indication that I was making any progress. I'm like,
he's
okay,
just like,
then.
Yeah. He's just standing there, just taking it like a man.
Okay. Well, good to know.
I know we kind of talked about combat already. The only other things on my list are upgrades and customization. Did y'all have anything that kind of stuck out to y'all there as far as outfits, beards, hair, perks?
I didn't really care too much about that. The perks I hardly used. I got one that was like extra experience when you kill enemies.
Yeah, I was like, well,
so I put that on. Like, I'll take the extra experience, whatever. But other than that,
I put all of mine into extra damage and extra when you attack and break their block meter, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I did mine. I know that I upgraded pretty much all of my stances. I cannot tell you like, oh, I liked this upgrade, this one was helpful, or any of that kind of stuff.
No, I'm now in my platinum quest. I think I've got like 28 or 29 points that I can use. I'm like, I don't care.
I got the trophy for,
and it got to the point even during the game where I'm like, I don't think there's anything else I really care about. Like, I'll have 7 or 8 points, and I'm like, I can't even be bothered to stop and upgrade.
Not constantly telling me.
Eventually I used them up, but I'm like, I can't be bothered to even go to a point and go to my skills and look at them and figure out what I want to spend. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, nothing's going to make much of a difference at this point. And yeah.
The only upgrade that I remember and we got to wrap this up because I'm about to die. The only upgrade that I remember really liking in combat was when you got the dual blade. Is it the dual blade? Yeah, dual blade, not dual wield. When you've got the Darth Maul, there's an upgrade you get where you go L1 and square, and he jumps at them and does like a helicopter in front of him with the dual blades. That thing I relied on so much because not only does it just like take away half their block meter, as it's doing that, it's also taking damage away from them. But what I do, as well as long as I've got force meter there, I just go, brr, 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 especially if I'm surrounded by like 2 or 3 of like the really hard security droids or whatever droids that have like the big, whatever, like the purple, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just go, and then all of a sudden I'm just blocking. Oh, I'm out of force meter. Run around. Okay. That is the only like combat upgrade that I actually remember liking and using all the time. It was so freaking good. It was so helpful.
Yeah.
So there's one trophy that requires you to, or there's a couple trophies actually that require you to wear a certain outfit.
Mhm.
And for some reason, there's one that requires you to wear a mullet. And when I did that trophy,
Is
I
it called like
decided
Eastbound and Down or something?
No, it's oh no, the mullet. There's the headband one, which is called Cobra Cal.
Yeah.
And then there's the mullet is called it's something I can't remember, but
I don't remember what it's called. I love the names of all the trophies though.
yeah.
But after I did the mullet one, I decided that I was just gonna make Cal look as redneck as possible for pretty much the rest of the game.
Roadhouse.
So I sent y'all a picture of it on Discord, but I had him in his mullet with a mustache and a goatee,
With like the Hulk Hogan or something.
Yeah. And
He
so
looks
I enjoyed that, just kind of making him look ridiculous.
He looked like the guy from, oh my God, what was the show? 2 Chicks at the Same Time. I can't remember that guy's name, but that's what he looked like to me.
Diedrich Bader, Office Space. I mean, the actor's name is Diedrich Bader.
That's his name?
Yeah, he's in like Drew Carey show.
Yeah.
Diedrich Bader.
Whose line? Or am I just?
I don't think he ever was,
Okay.
but it seems like he should.
Anyways, that's what he looks like. 2 Chicks at the Same Time.
And then stances. Kevin, I know we talked a little bit about stances on the Discord. Sorry, I want to talk stances real quick and then just general combat. Is that all right?
Quickly, yes.
Okay. I can tell you're dying a little bit.
Yes.
Xbox or PlayStation, whatever.
Did it shut?
So as far as stances, I pretty much always had the standard lightsaber. And then I was trying out some of the other ones. I didn't try double-sided because I didn't like that in Fallen Order. I tried blaster for a little bit or whatever that one's called. I didn't really care for it. And then when you get the crossguard, the Kylo Ren lightsaber, I think that's my favorite one.
I did not
I
like
hate
that. It was like
it's so slow.
But
I know it hits.
That it,
You're about to.
I loved that it would pretty for the block meters that you would take them out pretty much. It's usually just 1, 2, their block meters down.
I pretty much used just the single standard lightsaber, and then I usually had like 90% of the game I had the blaster as the second one. Just
screw that one.
I liked it just for the I didn't like the lightsaber. He fights like he's like fencing. He's like
the trophy. But
I like the blaster part of it, so I would just switch to that if I just had to do long range or whatever. But yeah, I used the just single blade.
So we're completely different. I used the Darth Maul and the 2 lightsabers.
See, I didn't like the 2 because it just seemed like he should be like,
he's so fast though.
But I feel like he never was. He was always just like,
well, when you upgrade it, it's like,
instead of just like slicing with one, he would
like,
just do it with 2.
Like,
so it was just ended up like this.
No.
So we were all different there.
Yeah.
And then as far as combat difficulty wise, I thought it was pretty spot on.
I thought it was much more fair than the first game.
Yeah. I didn't really struggle. I had like a little. I didn't struggle at all until Darth Vader. Darth Vader destroyed me. But up until him, I didn't really struggle much with.
I had more trouble
anything.
with Ravis than I did Vader.
I think I died collectively 2 times maybe before Vader, and then I died like 5 times at him. But yeah,
the only times I died in the game was when I was like, Beatty, and I'm just getting like, I can't even stand up, and they're like, boom. There's like 5 dudes around me, like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
I'm like, Beatty. It's like it goes beat, boom, beat, boom. I'm like, give me the freaking stims.
What difficulty were you playing on, if you don't mind me asking?
I started on normal and I bumped it down to easy.
yeah,
Not
okay.
story mode, but Padawan, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Oh, you started on Jedi Knight and then went down to Padawan?
Yes.
Okay. Or you started on Padawan and went down to story?
No. God. No,
I was just asking a clarifying question.
It goes very easy, medium, hard, very hard. I went
Okay.
from medium to easy.
yeah,
Okay. Same, Sean?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm on story now. In the post game, I'm like story mode.
No, I didn't even think. Why didn't I do that?
Yeah, I mean,
okay. So I started on Jedi Knight. I did everything on Jedi Knight, and I dropped the difficulty 3 times. The first time was to fight Vader because I was just getting absolutely destroyed.
yeah.
And then I dropped it all the way to story for that fight, and you take him out in like 3 hits.
Oh, I did not do
Like
that.
something absolutely ridiculous like that. The double Rancor was another one that I was like, I'm not doing this.
No, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it on story for that.
And then there was another Force Tear where you're fighting 3 like large beasts. They're not like legendary, but
Yeah.
there's the one that runs at you and like drop kicks you. There's the one which I don't know. I
Is it
don't
the one
know.
that rolls?
Okay, the rolling one.
Oh yeah.
The
And
Biomon.
then another big one. And I was just they would split up and all get on different sides of me and like stomp all over me. And I was just like, okay, this isn't fun. I want to be done at this point. And
Yeah.
so I dropped it all the way to story at that point and then just never even put it back up after that.
Have you done any of the bounties?
I've gotten 8.
Okay, there's some bounties that I think if I wasn't on story mode at this point, they would be tough. Like there's one where you fight 2, and there's one where you fight 3.
I had the one where you fight 3. It's 1 robot and 2 dudes out in.
But
I
do they
feel
all
like
have
Jeddah.
they all have their own
Oh,
life bar?
no.
There's one where you have to fight 3. It's like 3 bounties.
That's
You get-
I've
so you
found
get
2
3
bounties,
put.
but not 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's one that you fight 2, and there's one you fight 3. That I can imagine doing it not on story would
Yeah, I'm gonna put this
probably
on
be
story.
in
pretty
one
difficult.
of the
but
basement caves. There's some Kevin, I think you got there the other day where you fight like 3
Like
what are
3
considered like
Jedi
heroes,
things.
and
Yeah.
all 3 they all have lightsabers and they all have health
Oh, yeah.
bars.
That was
But
one
they're
of the
not
things that
considered bounties.
that was one of the things that I had beaten, and then I went to do the stupid platforming
Jeez.
portal thing, and then I rage quit, didn't save, and then Nick played Apex Legends, and I was like, huh. I went.
but you
back to
get a
that
trophy
cave.
for that. Did you get far enough that the trophy popped?
I don't remember. When I beat him the second time, I didn't get a trophy.
Okay.
But I was like, I
Oh.
feel like I've been here before, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm fighting these 3 assholes. And this is what didn't save. Are you kidding me?
And then that one last thing I wanted to bring up was just enemy variety. First game was pretty much all Empire. I really liked being able to fight your battle droids, super battle droids, lots of different creatures.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
I love the battle droids. They're so stupid, and they're like,
Some of the
oh,
droids I
I'm
feel
trying
like
to get
were
a
powerful.
promotion. But yeah, I thought they were awesome. I like that it almost made me think of Metal Gear Solid 4. Stick with me, because you're fighting everybody, but then you've also got the Empire fighting the Bedlam Raiders and Dagon Gera. So it's almost like you
Yeah.
had Bode and the Empire against the Raiders and Dagon Gera, and everybody hates you and you hate everybody. But there's also a war going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I ever saw 2 things fighting each other where it was creatures fighting raiders or raiders fighting empire fighting creatures,
Just
I'm gonna wait and let you guys
Yeah.
settle this amongst yourselves, and then
Yeah.
I'll come and clean up.
Okay, one more question, then I got to go to bed. What was
Okay.
the most annoying standard enemy in the game? There is only one answer.
the guy with the shield.
No.
No,
I hated the
crossguard
shield
crossguard
guys.
on that guy all day. 2 hits, that shield's gone.
Yeah.
There's only one answer.
It's one of the droids, right?
Nope.
No. What is it?
Flamethrower.
I felt okay. Why
Yeah.
couldn't you grab? Why couldn't you force pull the flamethrower, guys?
I don't know, but why can't you like? Why can't I just go? And,
But I
like,
didn't
blow it
think-
back at him or something.
I didn't think the flamethrower guys were anywhere near as. I meant to look up what they were called because I wanted to bring them up, but I forgot. They're these like droids that I don't think were in any of the movies that are like. They're not the security droids. They're like bigger and bulkier.
with like the
and
electricity
The
baton
electricity
thing.
blade
Yeah.
thing.
And
yeah.
they do not seem to stop attacking, and sometimes they'll just randomly shoot a rocket at you, and they're almost unparryable. And I was getting to the point, it was in the post game where I was just kind of over it, and I was like, I hate these guys so much.
Well, and you can cut their hands off, and then they're still like, oh,
Sometimes
I will still stomp on you, bitch.
But then they'll still, that doesn't really help because they'll still do like a glowing red attack that takes out like half your health.
James
Right.
is frozen.
Oh, there he is.
Am I
Oh,
back?
now you're moving again. Okay. You were I mean, we heard you coming through, so that's all that matters. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
you were
You're
frozen
just
for the
like-
last 15 seconds or something. You were just like, oh. All right. Final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
I think we got it.
I mean, yeah,
The
great
game's freaking
game.
awesome. The story's awesome.
Some slightly annoying technical issues,
Yeah.
but still
But
a
they
great
won't be there in
game.
the long run. So that's
Final
why I look past it.
Thing. The technical stuff doesn't bother me. I don't have any issues with somebody choosing not to play the game because of technical issues. Like, I know Dustin is a big frame rate guy. I know Chris is I don't think Chris is going to like the game because he's a frame rate guy.
Not right now, yeah.
But what I don't support is people going around and saying that nobody should play this game because of the technical issues. Whereas I had a really great time with it. The technical issues didn't bother me. So I guess it's more of the discussion around this game that really bothers me the most is people going around and policing what other people should be playing.
Yeah.
Whereas really it's like, we're all here to just have fun.
I like, yeah, it's stupid. I hate Pokemon. I think it's the stupidest game series ever where they make the same game over
What?
and over and over again. But if people like it, good for you.
Okay.
I don't
Okay,
care.
that was
Go for
relevant. I was like, what the heck?
No, but I'm saying like, I just like, it's not for me. But I don't care. I remember talking to Bernardo on Twitter about this a few years ago when Let's Go Eevee or something launched. And he was like, why are people hating on this? I'm like, thank you. I don't care about this game at all. But if you like it, go for it. Like, people probably think Kojima's an idiot and Metal Gear's the dumbest series ever. But like,
I mean,
who cares?
there's-
Like,
yeah.
if you like it, you like it. It's just, let people just do what they want to do. Who cares?
There's
That's how
people
I live
that-
my life. Live and let live. Just,
There are
Yeah.
people that think Death Stranding is a good game. Like,
I can't
You
wait
gotta
for
just let
DS2 to, you're going to be like, oh, actually, I think I want to play this game.
I know people, what you were saying about Pokemon, I know a lot of people feel that way about every Ubisoft game. And personally, I like most Ubisoft games. There's a pretty good chance that I like all of them.
Immortals
Yeah.
Phoenix Rising almost won my game of the year in 2020. I freaking
thought
love
that-
that
yeah.
game.
I thought that
So
was a
damn
really
good.
fun one. But then even that one, people were like,
Well, yeah, it's just
People were,
Breath of
like,
the
still
Wild
kinda critical on
knockoff,
that one,
blah,
too.
blah, blah.
I
Yeah.
saw a copy of Breath of the Wild. People were saying that it's the same things we don't like about Assassin's Creed, just in cartoon form. And it's like, y'all just can't be happy.
No,
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. All right.
I saw
That's a
it
good
that
place
time.
to end it with Immortals Phoenix Rising. All right. That is it for this episode of the Two Player Co-op Podcast, whatever it's numbered. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, James, for being here. It's
Thank
always
you
fun to
for-
get you on here, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Do your cheap plugs.
Check me out on, I guess, on YouTube. YouTube.com/@JamesGamesAndMore. I think there's an @sign in there. They changed the way they can do that.
Yeah.
To where if you don't have enough subscribers to get your custom URL, you can still look. They can still look you up by user.
Right.
Anyway, best way to keep up with me is on Twitter, which is actually @James_Solar.
Thank you, James.
I think that's it.
well.
This has been
Sean?
fun. This is
Go ahead.
This is the first time I've ever been on a spoiler cast.
Yeah, we haven't done that many. I think the last one we did was
with
Final
y'all
Fantasy
or
VII.
with anybody
No,
else.
we did Resident Evil with Jason also, and Final Fantasy VII Remake with Jason, I think.
Did we not do one for Ragnarok?
No?
No. I was bothering you guys to do that, and it just never happened.
Yeah, I guess it has been a while.
Stained. All right. That's it for this episode. But until the next time, Sean, can't wait to play Zelda in a few days. But go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.